item on the agenda is mine. It's the school board use of email policy. And I'm the one who placed this on the agenda. This is an item that I would like to refer to the policy committee to write with the framework that we set up at our meeting. I think that the Hooksett School Board, I'm going to make a motion and then I'll speak to the motion. I'd like to make a motion that the policy committee review or work to create a policy for the Hooksett School Board regarding the use of email. In this policy, and I can provide this to you, Leanne, stress that email is a powerful tool. Rules for the use of email set by us. Communication should be held to a minimum. Should all emails sent to the Hooksett School Board members be CC'd to the HSB for informational purposes, and that this have access to the public to reduce the number of right-to-knows. That the HSB have a link on our website that these emails be made available to the public on a weekly basis and not be part of the Hooksett School Board policy. That all communication from the public to the Hooksett School Board be addressed by the chair of the Hooksett School Board to avoid issues of addressing the public becoming a violation of RSA 91A and having online meetings. That HSB email have a link. If I have a second, I'll speak to this.
Second.
I think that email is a very powerful tool in our society. However, because we are public servants, email is very different in the public arena than it is in the private sector. We as a board have to become very aware that when three of us are speaking on an issue, it becomes an illegal meeting, and that is a very slippery slope that this board teeters on quite a bit. And I am not opposed to it being someone else other than the chair who addresses email. I just think that we get into a lot of difficulty on this board with the use of email.
Madam Chair, in the spirit of what I heard from the audience tonight and the work that we've been doing, I'm going to propose an idea that clears up a multitude of issues that we have. It's an idea that is used in computers, and it's called a reset point. And I would like us as a board to go and pick a point back in time before we indulged in policy changes and all of this, and start from that point and try to work together as a board. I am willing to forego my complaints, my meeting conduct issues, and put all of that away and start to and pick up at a certain point that we were at and look at these things with a clean slate. I think we've shown tonight to the community that we want to move ahead and we want to work together. The only reason I bring it up under this issue is it's another twist. It's another thing that we're going to do here, and frankly, I've just had enough of it. I would like to just go back to a point and see if we can start from that point, retract the policy changes that were made at the last meeting, and pick some point that we can just pick up from that point and move forward. I'm willing to extend my hand to you, Dr. Littlefield, everybody on this board, and move forward. But I don't agree with this. This is already stated in the law, but see, there I go. I'm going to start arguing about this. And there we go. So,
But we don't have a policy on email.
it's my understanding, though, that it's in the RSA. So I'm just throwing that out there as a suggestion because so far this meeting has probably been one of our most cordial meetings. But as I'm looking ahead at the agenda, it's rough water. And I just don't really want to go there. And I think this is the point of the meetings, bring this up and see if there's some things we can just say, those were tough times and we're gonna leave behind us.
Madam Chair, I am wholeheartedly behind David, what he's saying. Again, I think we had a real productive meeting tonight.
Everything's went very well. I was actually going to make a point of saying that on the budget committee issue, David was very chivalrous, is the term I was looking for. So again, I'm all in favor of, I'm a glasses half full guy. I would like to pick a point and move forward from there and not.
Year or so, and I think it sounds like we all want to heed those lessons and move forward, so I would support that.
I agree with David too, and I'll speak personally on this. You know, coming from the business world into the public sector is a whole different animal, where email is used not only on a daily basis, but minute by minute, because everybody wants to make sure they're very clear what their understanding of a certain subject is. But we're guided by law and we're guided by our own policies. And so I agree. I'm ready to extend my hand to all the board members as well. I think we have some very, very serious issues now ahead of us. After our last dispute with Manchester, these money issues are going to affect our children, and we have to be very smart about how we do this. So I think the time we spend on that is going to be extremely important, and less on these other issues. Thank you.
I will withdraw my motion about policies regarding use of the
I'm sorry.
I'll withdraw the information about the use of the email.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, I would like to just go through the agenda and offer things that I am willing to forgo. The one thing that I have on my mind is the 3 policies that were changed at the last meeting. I have no problem if those proposals want to be brought up and sent to a policy committee, and we can have an open discussion about them, but I would just rather reset them on here. Things that
do we want to go through? I'm just asking because
Those
those items that you're asking for are not on the agenda. Do we want to go through the agenda and say we all agree we're not going there, and then when we get to the bottom, address the issue that you have with policy?
Well, yeah, what I was willing to do is, I'm willing to go through the agenda and tell you things that I'm going to be willing to give up. I'm just kind of giving you a preview of what I'm looking for, because if what I'm looking for you're not willing to do, I guess it would be frivolous. So if I may proceed, I would be glad to do that. I'm willing to give up G, formal complaint, H, meeting conduct, policy book, request for legal quote, I think we're done with anyway, high school informational meeting, I'll give up Chromebook experiment. I'd like to leave BYOD update on there. I think that's important. So, looking at the agenda, I'm willing to forgo some of those things. I'm willing to forgo those things that I mentioned.
And what is it that you want to negotiate, giving those up? What are the things you want?
I would like to see us retract the policy changes that were made to the 3 last policies. And I would like us to all, agree that we will consider everyone as we're planning meetings and we're moving forward. That we will, give some latitude as far as we did tonight. As soon as somebody said they had something, we shifted. I think we did well with that. So that's really all I'm looking at, and to just try to put some of the issues that we have on this board that keep coming up, and it keeps us separate. And I'm willing to move past that.
I would definitely be open to that. And again, only because I don't think there's any one person here that has not learned a great deal through this process and how we we've interpreted the policies. So I think that seeing as how much progress we have made tonight, I really would feel very comfortable tracking that. I just think that, just wondering, or we can waive it, if we want to put that on the agenda for next week, or if we should adjust the agenda so that that can be included this week. I'm not, for retracting the policy changes that we had made. Because I don't think I see it on here. So I don't know how we want to proceed in doing that, if we want to do it tonight, or if in changing the agenda, or if we want to be sure that that's put on for the next meeting so that we can correct that.
Well, we could make a motion to withdraw the items on the agenda that Mr. Pearl was agreeing to have removed, and we could add a policy to work it. We probably do have a policy committee coming, either the 20th or the 3rd of September, just because that's typically the time of year that we review policies, that we could take those policies that were changed at the last board meeting and do it through the process that Mr. Pearl would prefer.
And Madam Chair, I would just say that my interest is in protecting the opinions of the minority. And I think that's very important, because at different times we're all going to find ourselves in the minority, and to not be heard or to feel as though, you know, strategy is working against you makes you question your service, and that concerns me. So I would like to do this in the spirit of protecting minority board members, and I think that if we follow the rules and we trust in each other a little bit, it may be some things that we don't want to do, but we can get through that process and we can continue to function as a board. So that's the spirit that I'd like to do this in. I make a motion to remove item G, formal complaint requested by David Pearl. Item H, meeting contact requested by David Pearl. Item K, policy book requested by David Pearl. M, high school informational meeting requested by David Pearl. O, criteria for Chromebook experiments requested by David Pearl.
I'll second.
Can I just make sure I got
That would be
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, right? Formal complaint, meeting conduct, policy book, legal quote, high school information, and criteria for Chromebook.
Yeah, we can remove legal quote. I think that was, we've already actually addressed that issue.
Right, but I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, I'll mention that. Yep, 6 will do it.
Okay.
So, can I vote for a group hug, or is that pushing
Can
that
I
one
get a
back?
second on that?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I didn't remove those complaints, only the one called by me. Yeah.
Madam Chair? So following in the spirit of Mr. Pearl, I'd like to make a motion to remove, and I'll also I'll give you my reason. I'd like to make a motion to remove under item H, meeting adjournment procedures, meeting minute posting, requested by John Liscars. Item J, SAU organizational chart. Item N, board member Liscar's legal counsel. Item Q, access to special education policies budget. And item R, safety signs on Martins Ferry Road. And item S, non-meeting. If I get a second, I'll speak to that.
I'll second.
Many of these items are old because it's taken us so long to get through our meetings. And as a new board member, it was explained to me to get some of this information, I had to bring it up at the public meeting. And now I've learned much of what's been on here. So it was more a sense to share with the public the knowledge, but we have so much that's much more important right now that I can get this information to the public on my own. Thank you.
I just need a second. I just need a second, because I just need a second because I'm trying to write down. I make a motion that, what?
I believe they voted on John's removal.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got a step ahead of myself, I apologize. We need to vote on John's motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. I'm sorry, I got to the next step before we voted, I apologize. I'd like to make a motion that, the following policies, BEDB, BHC, BBAA, BED, that were changed at the July 16th
Can you give me
meeting.
those again?
Okay,
A
I'm
little
sorry.
slower?
All right. BEDB,
D is in David, B is in Bob.
yes. BHC, BBAA, and BEB.
B, E, D is in David,
No, BE as in boy.
B,
BB. I may not word this correctly, and I apologize that these policies be referred to the policy committee and that they go through the normal policy amendment process.
Madam Chair, finish your motion, please. I'm sorry.
If I get a second, I can speak to it and we can reword it if we need to. I was kind of on the cuff there. I apologize.
Second.
Mayor.
Yes?
I would prefer that we reset those to the point they were and start that discussion again if necessary. That was my intention to, when I mentioned the reset point, that we would go back, and then if the board votes from that point to send any of those or any other policies to the policy committee, I think that would be the work of the board. That's what I was really asking for.
So could you repeat that for me? I'm sorry.
Well, I think your motion said to basically let them continue through the policy committee.
No, I said to refer them to the policy committee for review.
Right, and what I'm asking is that we reset them to the way that they were prior to the changes, and that if there are any changes that are desired by the board members, that we start fresh and discuss those policies and start the process and let them go so that we can start off fresh.
And that was my understanding when David expressed that interest.
I'll rescind my motion.
You want to just reword it since you're the crafter?
I stumbled over it the first time because I wasn't quite sure how to word it. I'm still. Mr. Clerk, would you restate what you said in the
well, I can make a motion if you like. I would make a motion that we reset the following policies, the ones that she just mentioned, to their original state as of July 1st of this year. Excuse me. Oh.
Make a motion, I said I seconded.
Did you second it, Trish? 'Cause
Yes, I
didn't.
did, thank you.